Hey guys, in this video, we're gonna go over the top 5 best investing apps. And at the end of this video, we're also gonna go over some of the best apps for international countries like the UK, Canada, Europe, and Australia. So how did I arrive to these 5 best investing apps and what are my criteria? Well, I'm gonna answer that for you really quickly here, but first let me give you some background on why I made this video. So I read all of the comments for my YouTube videos and I realize that I get a lot of the same questions, which is, hey Humphrey, what's your favorite brokerage? Or hey Humphrey, which brokerages offer fractional shares? Now I used to concentrate a lot of my holdings in just 1 or 2 different brokerages and I just kind of set it and forget it. But ever since I started creating content for YouTube and TikTok, what I've realized is I've tried a lot of different investing apps. These apps and brokerages include, but are not limited to, for example, Vanguard, Fidelity, Schwab, WeBull, TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, Public, SoFi, M1 Finance, Stash, Acorns. I wonder how long I can keep going, but I think I just named like 11. So let's take some time to go over the criteria that I use to make my selections, and then we can go over the best trading apps that you can install today and start using to invest. The first thing I wanted to consider was what type of features does this brokerage offer? These features included things like access to different types of accounts, so access to retirement accounts and maybe college savings accounts, etc., etc. I also wanted to consider if these brokerages offered fractional shares because fractional share trading is very popular as of recent. I also wanted to consider what access they actually gave you in terms of different types of investments. So for example, with Fidelity and Vanguard, you get access to their specifically branded index funds. So all the brokerages that we're talking about today, at least for the United States, are all commission free. They don't actually charge you any fees for trading. So that's pretty much an industry standard now, and we don't really have to worry about that. The other 2 things that I wanted to consider when it came to choosing an investing app is how good is their interface? So how easy is it to use? And also how's their customer support? Because sometimes we do need help when we don't know how to do something. I then compared all of these apps against each other, and I've basically narrowed them down to 5 that I really like. And remember guys, this is just my opinion. I just want to give you that disclaimer out there. This is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. So with that, let's go on with the first in my list, and that's actually Fidelity. It's the first brokerage we're going to talk about today, and I think there are a few reasons that they're actually number 1. First of all, in terms of their features, I'm going to bring them up on the screen right now. They literally offer everything you can even think of, from retirement accounts to options to 529 savings accounts, fractional shares, no fees on trading. They even have a robo-investing platform. In terms of features, they're super robust in that regard, and they're also super well capitalized. They're one of the largest investment firms in the United States with over $2.4 trillion under management. Your money's really safe there, and if you ever need to get your money out of Fidelity, it's going to be possible for you to do so. Fidelity also offers a proprietary index fund, which has 0 fees at all. So it has a 0 expense ratio. That's pretty crazy because the average index fund or mutual fund charges you an expense ratio of 0.2 to 0.75% per year. That means if you have $1,000 invested in either of those funds, if it's 0.2%, you owe them $20 a year for the fee. If it's 0.75%, $75 a year. With a 0 index fund fee, that just means more money is going to be going into your pocket and not to fees. Now, in terms of their interface, Fidelity is not super hard to use, but it's not super easy to use either. I would say it's probably like a 7 out of 10, where 10 is the easiest. You kind of need to know your way around, and if you don't know your way around, there are some tutorials online that you can look up, or you could just call their customer support. Now, in terms of their customer support, they do offer email as well as a phone service, and I've called them before during market hours, and they generally pick up within 10 minutes. I personally use Fidelity Investment app as a place to hold my long-term holdings, so I'm not making too many changes in there from day to day. I think if you are wanting to day trade or swing trade, then some of these other brokerages and apps that are dedicated to that are probably a much better choice. So if you do want something that lives on your phone and is a little bit easier to use than say Fidelity, there is an app called public.com, and that's actually our number 2 best investing app today. I think right now it's one of the best investing apps out there because of their ease of use. Their interface is actually super easy to use, as well as all their features. Now, Public touts themselves as the social network of investing. They essentially have a Facebook-like layer on top of an investing app. So they have like a news feed where you can follow other people and see what they invest in as well. Although you can't see their exact allocation, you can still learn a lot by seeing what other people are investing in. And you can also track pretty cool celebrities that are on the app, such as Tony Hawk and Casey Neistat. So I'm following Edmani on Public, and he's actually one of my friends, but he also makes financial TikToks, and I can see exactly what he invests in his portfolio. Obviously, you can see that he invests in things like Snap, Square, Twilio, Uber, ExxonMobil, and Zillow. but you just don't see the allocation. It's funny, he's also got some GameStop and some DraftKings, but they do have a separate section for long-term investing, so you can see that Admani here is really long on Apple, Disney, Facebook, and Walmart. In terms of features, they offer fractional shares, and you can buy fractional shares of stocks or ETFs. So for example, with Airbnb, if I wanted to buy $50 worth of Airbnb, I could instead of buying the entire share. Now with Public, there are no account minimums or no fees for trading. However, they do not offer any options trading and they don't have any retirement accounts either. So this is a long-term investing app that's really simple to use and it's really engaging. And I think the more engaging and fun it is to use, the more interested I seem to be in investing. So I really like their interface for that. In terms of their customer support, they only have an email only option. So that's pretty standard for a lot of these app-based brokerages. So that kind of sucks. But if you do need support with a certain trade, then just expect that you might be waiting a little bit longer for an email back. I do have a public.com link for you guys in the description below. I believe if you use my link, you get $10 worth of free stock and you can choose what stock that you actually get. So I think it's like $10 worth of Tesla, Amazon, or some other popular ones out there. All right, the next best investment app or brokerage is actually Vanguard.com. Vanguard is one of the largest brokerages out there and it's actually home of the index fund. So they actually came up with the index fund product back in the day. With over $6.2 trillion of assets under management, they're almost 3 times as big as Fidelity. So again, if you invest with Vanguard, your money is pretty safe there and you'll be able to get it out whenever you want. In terms of their features, they're very robust as well. So they're just like Fidelity. They offer many of the same different things that Fidelity does, but they also have their own type of index fund known as the Vanguard Index Fund, which has pretty cheap expense ratios as low as 0.04%. They also offer retirement accounts like the Roth IRA, traditional brokerage accounts, you name it, they have it all. The one thing that they don't have though is fractional shares. Now, in terms of their interface, this is just where I hate Vanguard. I cannot get on board with their interface. It's literally from like the 70s. I don't really know how it works because the 70s, the internet wasn't even invented yet they still have an interface that looks like it's from the 70s. Even I have a really hard time figuring out how to contribute my money that's already in my Vanguard account into my Roth IRA. Sometimes you have to move your money into a money market account, wait for it to settle, which could take up to 5 days, and then finally move it into your Roth IRA. And that whole process is just very annoying and takes a long time to figure out. Overall, the entire experience of moving your money and buying stuff on Vanguard is pretty difficult, but the good thing with Vanguard is since it's a long-term investment platform, I'm not doing it that often, at most once or twice a year. In terms of support, they also offer email as well as phone, and when I do call them during market hours, I've noticed that my average hold time is between 5 and 15 minutes. Okay, the fourth brokerage on my list here is actually WeBull, and WeBull is a pretty new brokerage as well. They've been around since I believe 2017. It's a good choice for those that want to be active traders because they offer a lot of detailed charts as well as technical indicators. And in addition to that, they also have extended trading hours, so you can trade before or after the market is open. The other thing that you can do with WeBull is open a retirement account or trade cryptocurrencies on WeBull. Now, personally, I'm not opening a Roth IRA or IRA on WeBull, and I'm not trading cryptocurrencies on WeBull just because it's so new and there are better specialized platforms for those specific tasks. WeBull just really excels in terms of trading stocks, and one of the best things about WeBull is that they have a really generous introductory offer. So if you do use my link below in the description or any links from any of these financial YouTubers, you do get 2 free stocks worth up to $1,850 when you deposit $100, which is pretty cool. Now, there are some cons to WeBull. One, they don't offer fractional shares. So if you wanted, let's say $50 worth of Airbnb, you can't do that on WeBull. You have to buy the entire share. Second, they do have a really confusing interface. While it is a more robust interface, it's a lot harder for the average investor to go in there and figure out what to do. Now, in terms of their support, you can email them within the app, you can email them outside of the app, or you can just call them. They do have an 800 number, but reportedly from reports online, it does take around 2 hours to reach somebody. All right, so let's get into the 5th best investing app, and that's actually gonna be a tie between Robinhood and Wealthfront. Now, hear me out. If this were last year, I probably would have ranked Robinhood as number 1 or number 2 on my list just because of how easy it was to use, but especially after what happened this year, I know a lot of you guys are gonna say,
but Humphrey, why are you putting Robinhood on this list? It doesn't deserve to be on this list. They were restricting GameStop shares, and they're a reason why I'm not a millionaire right now. And in fact, instead of being Robinhood, they're robbing the hood.
So yes, I did see that. I was not a fan of it, and as I uncovered more about the situation and the fact that they had all these collateral requirements they had to actually meet, That kind of made me change my mind just a little bit slightly towards Robinhood, but I still acknowledge that their PR and their communication around the whole situation was really awful. I myself even transferred all of my long-term holdings from Robinhood over to Fidelity because of what happened with that whole GameStop situation back in January. But here's the thing, it's where I still check a lot of my ticker symbols, and I just find it the easiest app to do that with, and I also left a small portion of my money on there for day trading and speculative trading as well. Now, in terms of their actual app, they actually have one of the easiest to use interfaces I've ever used in my life. It's still really good for beginners. They offer fractional shares, they have options trading, they have extended hours for trading before and after the market opens and closes. I really just wish they had a lot more transparency, especially when it came to that week where they did restrict GameStop shares. So in terms of features, they're right up there with all the other apps. They don't have retirement accounts, but they do offer cryptocurrency, but still, I'm not probably going to be buying cryptocurrency on Robinhood. Now, in terms of support, it's notoriously not that great. You have to email them, and right now, if they're really swamped, they might take a little bit longer to get back to you. The biggest reason why Robinhood is on this list is due to the ease of how easy it is to sign up, and then within 5 minutes, you could just be trading stocks. So that's Robinhood, and that's also why I'm offering up another brokerage at number 5, because if you want the complete opposite of Robinhood, I have a brokerage or investment app for that, and it's Wealthfront. Wealthfront is a robo-advisor that allows you to invest for the long term, and it basically uses technology to optimize your portfolio for long-term investing. So in terms of their features, it is pretty limited to just robo-advisory, but they also offer you different types of retirement accounts and different types of planning products within their platform. For a pretty reasonable management fee of 0.25% per year on your assets, they basically manage your portfolio for you and rebalance it for you as needed. Their interface is super easy to use, and it's one of those places where you can really just set your money there and kind of forget it. And if you do ever have a question, you can reach them via email or phone call. So this is the anti-day trading platform. You cannot buy individual securities with Wealthfront. It is solely for passive investments for the long term, and that's why I want to give you guys another option at number 5. So now let's take some time to talk about some of the international brokerages that are out there, especially if you're not in the United States. Now, I apologize I can't make this section more detailed because I haven't used any of these other trading platforms in other countries, but these are what subscribers and other friends of mine have recommended to me in the past. If you're in Europe, I've heard of many different brokerages there, but the most popular one seems to be eToro, and there's another one called Digero, and I don't know if I said that correctly, or Digero, but I'll leave them up on the screen right now. There's another one also called Mexem and Revolut, so those are 4 different brokerages that you can look into if you're in Europe. If you're in the United Kingdom, look into Trading 212 or Freetrade. I hear both of those are great. I do know Freetrade, I think, as its name implies, offers you free trades, so look into that one as well. If you're in Canada, I hear that Questrade is pretty good. Its fees aren't too high, and there's another trading app there called Wealthsimple Trade, and I do believe that Wealthsimple is very similar to Robinhood in that regard. For Australia, I've heard that Selfweatlh is pretty good, as well as another company called Stake, which allows you to invest in US companies. So the best way to find a good brokerage is just to install a bunch of them, try them all out, and see which one you like the best. If you are from an international country and you have recommendations on brokerages, please leave them in the comments below. I'm sure many people would get a lot of value out of that. Moving forward, I think it's a good practice to have your investments spread across many different brokerages, and that's kind of what I've already started to do. For me, I have my Roth IRA at Vanguard, I have my long-term investments at Fidelity, and then I have some fun trading money on Robinhood, Public, and WeBull. If you got any value out of this video, make sure to drop it a like, subscribe to my channel for more personal finance and investing content in the future, as well as some app reviews, because I want to do those too. If you'd like any of those free stocks from any of the platforms that I've talked about today, I do have some links in the description below for you guys. If you'd like to see what I invest in and be part of the Patreon community, please feel free to check me out there. And thank you to all my patrons. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be in a couple days. Peace.